Storytime at Home, presented by the Cincinnati and Hamilton County Public Library.
Hi friends, it's Miss Claire from the Groesbeck Library again. Today I have a book to share with you called In the Neighborhood by Rocio Bonilla. Once upon a time, there was a neighborhood like so many others. It had houses, streetlights, trees, and neighbors who had never met one another. Camila lived at number 15. There was always a lot of noise coming out of her house. The neighbors figured she was hard of hearing, so she had to turn up the volume of her TV. But the real reason for all that noise was that Camila had 10 babies who were 10 bundles of energy. Oh my goodness, look at all of these birds. They are swinging from the lights. Camila didn't dare to start up a conversation with her neighbor, Mr. Martinez. He seemed so serious and so straight-laced. She was convinced he didn't like kids and wouldn't want to have anything to do with her. Mr. Martinez worked in the city. He was an important lawyer, just like his mother, grandfather, and great-grandfather before him. There's his office. There's his relatives. But when Mr. Martinez got home from work, he changed completely. He had a secret hobby, juggling. If only I had an audience, he sighed. His neighbors were a noisy hen and a huge dragon who didn't seem to have much of a sense of humor. There's the dragon. The truth was that there was no huge dragon living on the street. Mr. Martinez's neighbor was a little mouse who lived in fear because a cat had moved in nearby. We all know what cats like to eat, right? Mice. Philip the mouse was very creative, and he came up with a clever solution to keep his very dangerous feline neighbor from coming anywhere near him. There's Philip. What Philip couldn't possibly imagine was that the cat across the street was vegan, so he never ate mice. Rodolfo the cat loved to play cards, knit pillows, and most of all, lovingly attend to his vegetable garden. Rodolfo was so shy that he never even once waved to his neighbor. Would you risk annoying a fierce dragon? I know I wouldn't. On the corner lived Matilda, a brilliant scientist. She worked all day in her garage, building astonishing inventions. Matilda spoke only to her robots because she had no one else to talk to. She figured no one lived next door. That house was always locked up tight. But someone did live there. It was just that Mrs. Paquita slept all day like owls do. Then she spent all night on the internet reading the news and playing game after game of solitaire. She's a night owl. She didn't even remember to raise her blinds. That's her house. Pepe the ogre lived at the top of a beanstalk. No one ever rang his bell, so he never left the house. He was convinced his neighbors were afraid of him because ogres have such a bad reputation. Here's his little doorbell and his beanstalk. The truth was, Pepe was a bookworm who yearned to share his love of reading. He dreamed about organizing a book club in the neighborhood. Or even better, two. One for books about traveling and another for superhero books, which were his very favorite kind. He does have a lot of books. Then, one fine day, something terrible happened. Mrs. Paquita's internet connection stopped working. Oh dear, this is horrible, she moaned. Matilda was shocked to hear her neighbor. Someone did live next door. Since Matilda was very handy, she was able to solve Mrs. Paquita's problem in the blink of an eye. The next day, Mrs. Paquita realized that she needed one more egg for her cake recipe. She rang her neighbor's doorbell for the first time ever. Pepe the ogre was very pleased to see she wasn't afraid of him, and he ran down to have tea and cake. Camila looked out her window and was surprised to see 3 neighbors eating cake together. That made her think she should try knocking on Mr. Martinez's door. She found out that he wasn't so straight-laced after all. Look at all of her chicks. They are so interested in what Mr. Martinez is doing. Rodolfo the cat got a big surprise when he decided to put aside his fear and shyness to go visit his dragon neighbor for the very first time. Oh, there's the dragon. Soon, everyone knew one another. They became friends. The neighborhood was now something different, a community. They are all good friends. And everybody was happier. And that, my friends, is the end. Thanks for joining me today, friends. I hope you enjoyed our story. I will see you around next time. Bye.
Get free books in the mail. Sign up today. Go to Ohio Imagination Library.org to find out more.